What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? You already know who it is. It's your girl, Lillie Mae. I want you to vibe with me. I want you to vibe with me to the sound of Taesean Blanding. You are listening to No More War. It's all about you, just in a matter of time. And it is vivid to stay, but you can't see the signs. Oh no, how many hits can we take till we can't take more? How many points you need to prove until you even start to the point where fear is knocking the doors, bang, bang, hit the floor. Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more. Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you. Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you. Lord, do you hear me? I need you. Oh Lord, we need you. Oh Lord, we need you. Oh Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you. Lord, do you hear me? I need you, we need you. Lord, do you hear me? Lord, do you hear me calling? Lord, we need you. Cause maybe I'm sorry. I'm asleep in my bed. I'm screaming no more. Guys, you were just listening to the sound of Taesean Blanding, No More War. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That's it. That's it. Y'all can't tell me anything else. That is it. But listen, tonight is about something different. Tonight is all about the state of affairs in Georgia. And yes, guys, I already know what a lot of you are thinking. So let me go ahead and address this right now. I am in Virginia right now, but I am affiliated with Georgia in more ways than one. And so definitely want to provide a platform for the residents in Georgia to speak their piece, but not only speak their piece, to also let people know that we are living in perilous times. And in times like these, I think it is important that we have a realistic platform for people to be able to talk about what their respective issues are. Not a gossip column, but an opportunity to really talk about the issues. So just to introduce you to the platform, All Things Authentic features 21st century trending topics and conversations about real life happenings. In a nutshell, it is a talk show with a down home feel, and that's all to it. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what's going on. But what I want you guys to do is feel free to leave comments. I want you to leave comments. I want you to just go off. Go off if you want to. But the reality is that we're not going to be before you long, probably half hour to an hour. Y'all know when I get going, I can go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on a young lady. She is a resident of Georgia. She's been in Georgia for some time now. And I mean some time. She probably been in Georgia, about 15 years or so. But I definitely want to bring her on. And I want her to talk a little bit about the state of affairs in Georgia. Before I bring her on, I want to give you a little bit of statistics. And the statistics come from Georgia Department of Public Health, okay? Now, the statistics that I am going to give you are the most recent statistics as of today at 7:25 p.m. So as of today at 7:25 p.m., there have been 227,477 tests completed in Georgia. 227,477 total tests done in Georgia. Now, of the tests done, there have been 32,178 confirmed cases. Okay. Now, I don't know where my math scholars are out there. Y'all know I taught math, but them some big numbers to be trying to do in my head. But I do know 227,477 total tests and 32,178 confirmed cases. Okay. So of all the tests done, 7% of people have tested positive. Okay. Of the people that tested positive, 1,405 of them were taken to the ICU. 5,975 of them were hospitalized, and they've had 1,400 deaths. So it's kind of touch and go. But let me bring Sharon on so that she can talk to you from her perspective of the state of affairs in Georgia since it reopened, and the most disheartening thing ever, the shooting of 25-year-old. The shooting of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery. Sharon, welcome.
Hey,
how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Taking my gum out because if my mother is watching on anybody's live, she will be tripping.
You see, I got grandma behind me.
Absolutely. Oh, you know what? Definitely honoring her. Definitely honoring
Absolutely.
her.
She'll be 100 years old if she had lived in
oh
3
my
weeks.
gosh.
In
And I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's a blessing.
Sharon, what I want to do is I would like for you to just go ahead and take the floor on. First of all, I want you to talk to us about Georgia reopening. I want you to talk to us about Georgia reopening and talk to me about before Georgia reopened and how you felt when they said they were going to reopen.
Okay. When they start closing everything, I was at work, so my job closed, sent us home. They would not give us any really, they kept saying, oh, we good. But we have heard over and over again, there were certain cases in our job that people was tested positive.
Wow, okay.
The first case came in Fulton County with the man and the son that came from Italy. A lot of people don't realize, okay, yeah, they came from Italy. They were tested positive, and it just started trickling down. Everybody started, it looked like everybody was just running around trying to figure out what's going on, what's going on. So the cases, once them two gentlemen was tested positive, it just ended up just looked like everything just went whoo. It just jumped from one, two, and it just jumped. It just started, people was just, then the man, the 68-year-old man died. They announced it. But see, news will tell you what they want you to hear. They don't tell you everything, but he was tested positive for the coronavirus, but they also said he had undisclosed illnesses because he was an elderly man. He had other illness that trinkle. So you know how, and we all know, my grandmother, your mother, even when my mom, when you get sick, they treated themselves. They would go get their medicine, treat themselves, think it's a flu. That's what most older people do. So, and that's what my mindset was. This older man probably thought he just had the flu, but when he couldn't shake it, by the time he got to the hospital, he was in full-blown pneumonia. He already had other disclosed illnesses, so he ended up passing away. Um, it just started. Then he passed. Then another 70-year-old man passed. Then everybody was like, "Well, it's only older people." Oh no, baby. Then they found out a 21-year-old young man died. So it just started going. Then it started, it started hitting the minorities of our own race real fast. And people was like, "Black folks ain't getting it." Oh yes, black folks did get it. That's the thing that people fail to understand. It didn't look at color. It was it was hitting everybody. Color is, and I get so tired of hearing that it was so much. Oh, it ain't hitting black people. It ain't gonna hit the young people. But guess what? It did. Georgia, when they start the shelter in place, honestly, and my sister was saying, she said the same thing to me. She was like, "Y'all niggas don't know how to sit down," and they did. They kept moving. They kept moving. They kept going place. Then they put the shelter in place to 6 p. Well, Atlanta, the mayor, she said 6 o'clock, everything shut down. But the other county, you got to realize, you got all these other counties. They didn't start falling in place until their numbers start rising. Their numbers had to rise before they start shutting down things. And that's really sad. Douglas County, Cobb, Fulton County was the highest, and I live in Fulton County.
Wow.
We had the highest number of positive people that was getting the coronavirus.
So Sharon, so tell me this. Because I'm trying to understand this. What was the rationale for reopening Georgia from your perspective?
Keisha, the mayor, she basically said she didn't back up Georgia Kemp, and that's what my understanding was.
Okay.
The governor Kemp decided, okay, we'll just open beauty salons, barbershops, nail salons. But think about it. Who goes to most of those places? I want somebody to answer that question. Who goes to most of those places? Look at my head. I got a scarf on my head, honey. I can't even get my hair done.
I don't want to keep my own home, but yeah.
But who goes to most of them places? You got to think about it. One lady told me, she was like, well, Georgia Kemp really wasn't thinking about minorities and thinking about the black people going to the place. Well, what was he thinking about? Because most people who and I understand there are white barbers, there are white hairdressers, but most of the people who go to the beauty parlor and the hairdresser and to the nail salon is of race, is of color.
Absolutely. And so, it's so interesting. And you might have to turn your volume down a little bit because I think it's interference. But it's so interesting that you say that most of the people that go to the beauty shops and nail salons are of color. And that's very true. And people were making jokes that Georgia gonna be the pilot, and y'all Negroes gonna fall in the trap. And lo and behold, Negroes fell in the trap. Because the reality is you just keep going and going and going and going. And the thing, what people fail to realize about the coronavirus is this. You and I could have the coronavirus, but because we're in decent shape, we may not display the signs and symptoms of the coronavirus. And we go out and we infect somebody else. Just this morning, I was talking to my Aunt Lillian, and y'all, everybody that know me and my family knows she is the matriarch of the family. She is 90 years old, and she told me, "No, I'm the boss of you, and you put a mask on when you go outside." I said, "I'm not putting no mask on because the mask isn't protecting me for real, for real. It's protecting me from giving it to somebody else." I'm pretty daggone sure if I was in New York at the heart of the coronavirus and came back to Virginia with nothing but the type A flu, I don't think I'm gonna get the coronavirus because I'm made of good stock. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm made of that country girl stock. We made of that good stock. So I don't think we're gonna get the coronavirus because you know we eat everything on the hog from the rooty to the tooty. And so we're not gonna get that coronavirus.
But you gotta think about it. Look how New York and the cases, they was 500 and 600 people dropping a day. Absolutely. Bodies on top of bodies. Absolutely. And I couldn't understand if you seen New York State and they talking about where they so overpopulated, it doesn't make a difference. Atlanta is overpopulated. We have so many people here that I have been in the stores, grocery store, people ain't wearing masks. Some of them was dressed in masks, the gloves, and the hospital shoes. You know, they was going to that extreme. It was a lot of things going on here. They were letting only the elderly in earlier than they would let the younger people in. And let them come shop between 7 and 9, and then after 9 o'clock they let the other people in, which was a good idea because elderly was at the time was the main ones that was getting this virus. They were the main ones that it was hitting the hardest. But then they started seeing it into younger people. It wasn't, and then when the younger people was like, okay, well, I don't need a mask, they out here. Let me tell you something. When Georgia Kim opened up the mall, I told me and my daughter, we're gonna go by there. We went by there. They wouldn't let you in without a mask. I had my mask. My daughter had my mask. But once you got in there, they weren't patrolling. People took the mask off. It was probably maybe about 4 or 5 stores open, and they was letting 1 or 2 people in. They was being cautious.
Wow.
But they didn't have nobody controlling. They was gonna take you let them in with the mask, but as they walking around, they took the mask off.
Wow.
But I couldn't understand.
Gangster with it, huh?
Right, and I'm like, where y'all get this money from? Ain't no jobs open, so what is going on? Where the money coming from? But hey, people doing it. The malls are open, nail salons open. You know, one nail salon, they said they want to take but 2 or 3 people. But them 2 or 3 people is going to get you. What I told one girl, go and get your hair done, go and get your nails done. Go do what you do, because you are preparing yourself for the casket, for the funeral home, to lay you to rest. They ain't got to put no makeup on you, because you're going to be already ready. You're going to be ready. You know, you got to think and use common sense. She said it. The mayor of Atlanta said it. Common sense. Use common sense and think about the places where you go.
I agree.
But you got to think about it. Now, when this first hit, people in the stores buying about toilet paper and Clorox. You ain't cleaned in millions of years. Now you want to buy all the Clorox. You know, you taking away for the ones that do clean.
Well, so, all I'm saying is, I buy Scotch tissue. Today, when I went to Walmart, I did a whole Holy Ghost 2-step, and y'all know I grew up in a traditional Baptist church where did nobody shout, speak, or clap.
Me too. I was right there.
Yes, ma'am. So when I hit my Holy Ghost 2-step and I felt it in my Shondio, them people were looking at me like, what is wrong with her? Guys, Walmart has Scotch tissue, the 12-pack. Because this Charmin is stopping up my toilet stool. So coronavirus, you are messing up my toilet business.
Right.
It stops up my toilet stool. Y'all don't understand. But okay, let's get back to the coronavirus.
But you know, but we have to use common sense.
We do, indeed.
And opening up, and when he opened up, I feel that Some of the now I have seen and have driven past a lot of
Mhm,
places that have not opened up.
mhm.
Several stores and malls said, "Hey, we're not opening up until this is completely safe." Foot
Absolutely.
Locker, Foot Action, all them stores have not opened up in the mall. They said, but they're multi-billion companies. They're gonna bounce back.
Okay.
And I do believe they'll bounce back. But you do have small companies that may not bounce back from this.
That's
And now we have to see what the government and what the state is going to do when these companies, it's been 3 months now, some of these stores haven't been open, some of these stores are going to have some financial issues,
absolutely, absolutely.
but you got people that's going to have financial issues with their homes, with the places they live, their cars, their phones. They're going to have a lot of financial issues. It's going to be a minute for us to bounce back. And that's the whole world. It's not only Georgia, but the whole world. It's going to take a minute for us to bounce back.
So, Sharon, I guess my question is, what do you suggest though? Because if businesses go from being able to accommodate 100 people in a store to only being able to accommodate 6 people in the store, how is the economy going to come back?
Right.
Or is the economy really okay? And because of this coronavirus, it has put a damper on the economy, but there's money that can be printed at any given time.
Absolutely.
Because the reality is that, and guys, I want you to understand when I say this. Before you get so excited about your stimulus checks, and before it makes your rotors turn that you receive these checks in an election year,
Mm-hmm.
please understand this money has been there. The government can print money whenever they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And if the money isn't printed correctly, precisely, and accurately, they're going to burn it and reprint more.
Right. But when you say that, let me say this.
Okay.
That stimulus check, first, when it was put in legislation
Mm-hmm.
that it would be 17-year-olds
Mm-hmm.
and adult, whoever you filed on your taxes, 17 and younger, that will receive. You receive 1,200. If you're married, you receive 2,400. And if you have a 17-year-old or younger, you receive 500 with that child. No, they went back in and they changed it to the child being 16 and under, which didn't make any sense. Because if you have a 17-year-old that's still in high school that is not working, because a lot of stores will not hire a 17-year-old, some of them won't,
Mm-hmm.
and it's quite a bit in different states and even here in Georgia. Now you can work at like Six Flags at 16, and you can work at Kroger's at 16. But a lot of stores do not let you get hired on. So a 17-year-old should have received that $500, but they went in and changed it. But think about that stimulus check. Some way or somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
that money is coming back to the government. I
Hmm.
don't know how, but they're going to get it back somehow. And
Absolutely.
I believe that, but I may be wrong. Hey, I want the viewers. I like people, this is one reason why I wanted to talk about, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
that
Yes.
$1,200. One girl said she was like, "Oh, $1,200 ain't gonna do nothing for me as a business owner." First of all, they ain't got to give you a damn thing. They ain't got to
Yeah,
give you
that's
nothing.
it. Yeah, that's it. That's
We
it.
lucky
That's
we
it.
got 1,200 because we could have got zero. Because and I was surprised that Trump even wanted to sign anything. And the legislation and the Democrats and the Republicans and whoever passed it and all these people passing this, I was really surprised that we even got that. And now they're talking about the $2,000 with the little card, the credit card, and we'll get $1,000 a month so we can bounce back. It ain't passed yet, baby.
It won't. And the reality is this. The reality is this. You have to understand how the government works. And I think that's the problem for me. We don't read, we do not work to understand and interpret what is really going on. And I think that's why I said your stimulus checks come with a price.
Right.
Because most people did not use that stimulus check to handle their needs. They used it for their wants. Y'all up in Walmart buying TVs, buying the newest Jordans, y'all going to get cars that you cannot afford, that in June you're going to be sending back because you think they're going to send you another stimulus check. Right. Guys, use your brain, because this is one thing about it. Everybody says common sense is not so common anymore. I don't think so. I think common sense is common. I think that people just choose not to use it. Because God gave all of us common sense. He gave it to us. You were born with it.
Absolutely.
But whatever you experience or choose to experience or align yourself with along the way is the reason that you acting like a plumb fool. It is what it is. And so
buying Jordans and all this stuff, and knowing that you got to pay these bills, and these bills are going to be coming up. See, the bills may not be there now, but once this over, them bills coming, and they're going to be stacked high, and people don't realize it has to. We got to pay them sooner or later.
Absolutely. And the thing is, so I was reading an article, and it was telling me that 33 million people have filed first-time unemployment claims since mid-March. 33 million people have filed first-time unemployment claims since mid-March. Like, what in the world? What in the world?
When I filed my unemployment, when the lady called me, she called me about 5 days later. I was shocked because she said the first day when people was out of work, when it first started, they had 20 million people. Not 20,000, but 20 million. She said they have anywhere between 500 to 1,000 emails when they walk in that building at 7 a.m. They have to come to work. They're not working from home. Now, that's the lady that I talked to in Georgia. I don't know about any other state, so let me make sure I clarify myself, because I don't want people thinking I'm talking about their state. Well, Georgia. So the lady here in Georgia, she told me, she said they have to go in at 7 a.m. They do not leave until 7 p.m. They have to process as many as they can. She told me, she said they're not looking for no one to look for work, because nobody's going to hire you during this COVID-19.
That's true. That's true.
She said, she asked questions. Did your job lay you off or did they fire you? I said, my job told me they had no hours, that I had to leave and come back when they got some hours. I won't trying to leave because I need to work. She said, I understand. They were trying to process these. They're trying to process everybody. It's not. And it's not easy on them. They're not answering. No incoming calls are coming in. They are only doing outbound calls. My phone is still waiting. His is still processing from in this is May. He put it in April. So it takes about 4 to 5 weeks before everything is processed. So if you're waiting on unemployment, it's at least 4 to 5, I say 4 to 6 weeks before it's processed, but they're going to pay you the back pay. You will get your back pay.
I know a girlfriend of mine, she was telling me today that she got her back pay and it was close to, I think, $4,000. But this is the thing in regards to the second round of stimulus checks. The argument in favor of the second round of stimulus checks is simply stating that people, the more the coronavirus spreads and the more people are out of work, more people are going to become unemployed. So we need to do something to offset, their finances.
Right.
But the argument against a second round of stimulus checks, which honestly I agree with to a certain extent, is that the stimulus packages on top of stimulus packages will increase the federal deficit. And I'm sorry, guys, I want y'all to do research. I'm not giving you this for free. Go and find out what the federal deficit was during the Great Depression and what it is now.
Right.
But you got to do a little bit of digging because you also have to think about cost of living increases. So you're going to have to do some mathematical formulas, but I just want you to look at it. I want you to really look at it.
I think that also with this second round, when they're talking about that $2,000 and that other money coming in, I'm looking at also making sure these people don't go homeless. Because, you know, banks don't want to wait on no money because they got to get paid.
No.
Mortgages and rent, these people don't want to wait on money. Courts don't want to wait on money. But at the end of the day, the courts, everything, even courts, banks, I understand you all have to get paid because, but if we don't have money coming in, you can't pay something that you don't have. If you can't work because the company said, hey, I cannot put you in this job for an expense of getting someone a paycheck, because if you die here, there could be a lawsuit because you got COVID-19 from your job.
You can't get blood from a turnip.
Huh?
You can't get blood from a turnip.
Right.
That's
So
it.
now we're looking at the pros and the cons. Should we? Should we not? Could we? Could we not? We're looking at so many different things. I understand companies don't want to go under because you want to continue to process and move forward in your selling your stuff. But you got to think about, do you want a lawsuit that somebody get COVID-19 from your facility? And then you have a lawsuit with 2-3 people trying to sue you, and then you go bankrupt anyway. Come on, we gotta think. We have to use our brains for something. Like my grandma said, please use your head for something, not for got a brain like a mustard seed. Because if you got a brain like a mustard seed, you ain't gonna know nothing.
So Sharon, I guess let's transition. Let's transition. Wow. So in the midst of Corona-19, which is already ridiculously just hectic.
Right.
You went from having issues. You know what? It's ready to get lit.
Okay.
It's ready to get lit.
We want everybody.
What's ready to happen.
We want everybody to tune in. We want everybody to
are getting ready to welcome Miss TomiGirl.
Hello, people. This your girl, Miss TomiGirl. How y'all doing?
How you
doing?
That's
my girl, Lillie Mae.
Miss TomiGirl, this is Sharon. Sharon is in the heart of Atlanta. Sharon, this is Miss TomiGirl. Miss TomiGirl hails from the great city of Macon, Georgia, baby.
My town.
She down in the country. She down in the country.
The country till the day I die. Cornbread and collard greens, but it's all good.
She down in the country.
Fitness for the
girl. Let me recap you. So, Miss TomiGirl, Sharon had it on her heart to discuss the issues associated with reopening Georgia.
Oh, God.
Now, we're getting ready to make our segue into talking about 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery. But
26
you're here.
Today is his birthday.
Today. Oh, really? So he's 26 now.
He turned 26.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I didn't even know that.
Today is his birthday.
Okay.
He turned 26. They did, and I know we're going to talk about it, but they did a run. South Fulton, it's Partners. It's called South Fulton Partners. They was on, I was watching the news. I usually try not to watch the news because it's so depressing.
Yeah.
And I did not know anything about this young man until yesterday. I had never heard of it, didn't know anything about it. And living here I live in Atlanta now. I used to live in Douglasville, but living here in Atlanta, we all know it's about who you know and not what you know.
That's true.
A lot of people got to understand that this young man, you live in Macon, you live in the heart of the country. Brunswick is a population of 16,000 people compared to Atlanta.
Right.
And it's racist. I don't care what nobody say. I'm a
Mm.
on Facebook. I can call out and I can call out a couple more counties over here by Atlanta. We can talk about Noonan, Georgia, racist. Douglas County, racist. Cobb
Mm-hmm.
County, racist. We want to put things on the table. Let people start seeing what is going on.
What's really
Yeah,
going on?
We got to make a
that's
change.
it.
This got to
I
change.
agree. I
Mm-hmm.
And
agree.
somebody put on, I was on my Facebook page. They said, don't let this be another Trey Martin, that man in.
Sandra Bland, all these things, and to be honest with you, I actually talked on this subject a little bit earlier
Mhm.
online.
Okay.
And my only concern for us as a people is that we allow social media to dictate what we find to be important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad to say, and I'm just a realist with this, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, this is not going to be trending. So all of these emotions and the going into the neighborhoods and all this other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
once the next fad comes along,
Mm-hmm.
his name will be forgotten. So
Absolutely.
my concern is as a people, what are we going to do to make sure that does not happen? Because it seems like every other month, every other year, we're right back to the same place. And I'm sorry, all of the marching is not going to change it.
Mm-hmm.
All of these reposts are not going to change it. And I'm not trying to be religious on this live, but I
Mm-hmm.
said it today. The only one that can change this is God. And some of us, we can't see what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
They
Well,
reopened up the state of Georgia.
come on
After they
now.
reopened
Miss
the state of
Tomicia.
Georgia,
We just spoke about this. We
Mm-hmm.
just
now all
spoke
of a
about
sudden
this.
this is up, and now we're down here on the steps together. And then you're telling me COVID and all these other things are out there that can potentially kill me? Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be smart with this thing. These are principalities that are working right now. This is not
The
just
people are so
me
angry.
get out here and march.
The
It's
people are
bigger.
so angry in Brunswick. They're angry because it shouldn't have took 3 months. But see, this
Mm-mm.
comes from, you got to think about it, protecting your own. How many of
True.
you know, as if officers of the law protect their own?
Mm-hmm.
Lawyers protect their own. Now you got district attorney. Now they're trying to say, because when I was watching the news, they said they're asking for the resignation of the chief of police. They're
Mm-hmm.
asking for his resignation. They also, the district attorney, she recused herself. The assistant district attorney recused herself. And the other district attorney recused it because they're friends with this former police officer.
Right.
But they also have not. Why did it have to take the GBI 3 months to go and arrest them? And then they talking about you have to be invited. They had to invite the police down there to help them. You got me twisted, baby. Because I guarantee if there was two black men on a truck and shot down a white boy, they
Mm-hmm.
would have been in jail. We all know this.
That's true.
We all know.
So
But
So
how
can
can you
I?
expect to get justice from a system that was never designed to give you justice
oh,
in the first place?
come on,
Oh,
say
wait
it
a minute.
again.
So we
Please.
can sit here again and
Mhm.
we can sit here and we can do all this picketing and marching. But what I'm trying to say is, how are we going to win?
We not.
'Cause
We're not gonna win. And somebody said on Facebook, they may have been denied bond, but there's gonna be a loop in that hole. I'm sorry to say it. It's gonna be a loop
mhm.
in that hole. It's gonna fall through because if it took you 3 months to put them in jail,
They ain't trying to put them in jail.
well, they in jail. They got arrested
No,
last night.
I'm saying on a permanent basis, meaning you
Absolutely
about to get convicted.
right.
No.
And see,
If
my
they
thing
meant to do
was
that, they would have done right from the beginning.
correct.
It doesn't take all of this.
Right.
See, this to me is a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
I see it for what it is. Y'all sitting up here, you have put all of these things out here in the state of Georgia for me to go get my hair done. Go get my nails still are not done, Lily. I'm
Mine
jealous of
ain't
you because
done.
I saw
Look
your
at
nails
your
the
head,
other
girl.
day,
I'm
Lily.
on the floor.
I saw them. My nails are still not done.
Right.
Okay. But they open up these things that cater to brown folk. And I know this live is not just catered to
Didn't I
us.
say that? Didn't I
We
say
got
that
to
to
look
you?
at this as a people. This
You
is a people
you
problem. This
had
is
that
not just a
conversation.
black problem, but it's things that we got to address as human beings. Okay. My thing is you open up these things. And when I looked at the statistics today from the Georgia CDC, we've got over 35,000 cases of COVID right now. And it's not all evolving around that, but I'm just using that as a point of reference. Over 9,000 of those cases are African American. You've got probably about another I'll say about 2,000, maybe close to 3,000 of people that are other. Meaning 9 times out of 10, they are biracial, mixed, brown folk. Okay. So they open up this state for us to get out here, go to these jobs because they know we already robbing Peter to pay Paul, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So get them out here. Now what I'm going to get you back into is to your normal. Let me get you back into focusing on the things you did before we told you to keep your butt at home. Okay, because we didn't meet a quota. It's not enough of y'all dead yet. And when I saw those numbers, and all y'all don't have to believe Miss TomiGirl, just go to the internet and put in Georgia CDC.
I've already put the numbers up. So Miss TomiGirl, I'm run back to the numbers. For those of you that just came on, Georgia's overall total tests completed were just shy of 27,500. They have 32,178 confirmed cases. Now, of the confirmed cases, 1,405 were ICU admits, almost 6,000 were hospitalizations, but 1,400 of those people died. Now, I'm thinking that if I know what I think I know, the people that went to ICU, not the people that died, because the people that went to ICU are the people with the good insurance.
But 900 of those people that passed away in the state of Georgia were Black.
Once again, I said the people that were in the ICU probably were the people that had the good insurance. And that good insurance, you get treated better.
You better say
I know what I'm talking about because I work in the field, so I know what I'm talking about.
You ain't gotta say no more.
What I want to do is this. Before we talk about Ahmaud Arbery, this is what I want to do. I want to take y'all on a trip. I want to take you guys on a trip back to 1828. Because in 1828, Andrew Jackson was the first Democrat to become president of the United States. Now, I need you to understand something. During that time, Democrats would be the modern day Republicans. And I say that to say this. Political parties are stupid. And if you define yourself by a political party, you just might be stupid. Because what you need to understand is that in the beginning of time, there were Federalists and anti-Federalists, and those were not political parties. Political parties were developed at a time of political unrest. And what that means in today's terms is the anti-Federalists and the Federalists still didn't agree, so they had to come up with another party. Okay? So I need you to understand that, but let me get back to your history lesson. So this is a fact. Andrew Jackson's campaign strategy focused more on the common man than the educated man. Who out here posting the most about stimulus checks?
Black
common folks or educated folks that got careers where they salary and they still getting paid whether they go to work or not. All right, I'm gonna leave that
alone.
Another fact: politics during that 1828 era were influenced by interest groups and selection bias. Interest groups. Selection bias. So let me select to take basketball rims down, but leave golf courses open. Okay, all right, I'm gonna leave that alone. Also during Andrew Jackson's era, there was an increase in voter participation by white males during the election. Okay. All right. And the other thing is that this is what I really need you to understand. Andrew Jackson wanted the government to be run for people other than the aristocrats or the elite. Hold on, wait a minute. So Andrew Jackson didn't want the He didn't want the aristocrats or the elite. He wanted, the common folk. So the CEO of these companies, them kind of folk. Does that sound familiar? Oh, okay. But not only did he do that, but see, he opposed any members of Congress that looked out only for special interests. Okay, all right. So to me, our government's entire platform, our current administration's entire platform of away with the establishment is simply a replica of Andrew Jackson's spoil system. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is 92 years later, we are in our own trail of tears. See, the Indians had the Native Americans, the Indians, they had their trail of tears because of Andrew Jackson.
Right.
This COVID-19 is our trail of tears. The borders are closed. You're not getting out and you're not coming in.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
People, what I need you guys to understand is that history repeats itself. And Miss TomiGirl, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm not going to get religious, but y'all already know where I come from and what I believe. So let me give it to you like this.
Bring it.
The Old Testament was made of predictions, but the New Testament are those predictions fulfilled. So prophecy, we are living in Revelations, and I need you to understand.
Girl, you bet, girl.
So if you don't believe what I believe, that's fine, but you better believe in something other than what you're seeing on TV and what you're
on
the podcast.
Come on now.
I want you to hear what I'm saying right now. All of Jacksonian supporters were in the West, the South, and they were small business owners. But guess what? Those are the people that are suffering the most during this COVID-19. So all of those who support away with the establishment, instead of thinking independently, logically, and critically, you're now sitting at home collecting money from the government. But if I'm not mistaken, a lot of you are collecting money from the same pot of money that you talk junk about, people that don't look like you getting money from. But because I work on the inside, I know that more of my counterparts are receiving services than people that look like me. So I have a problem with a system, like you said, that is set up to disenfranchise.
See, confirmation.
What we have to understand is this.
Bring the fact.
It's all about color. This thing is about class, status, and power. And if you don't understand class, status, and power, you don't.
And that's why I just said it ain't got nothing to do with your color now. Y'all better wake up and stop this older, the white man, this, the such and such. This. No, we well beyond that. This is about class.
Right.
Because, and I'll be the first to speak. I am a loud, flamboyant, African-American, Southern, born to a common mama and daddy with a whole lot of intellect, though. First generation college student, first generation graduate student, first generation postgraduate student, first generation entrepreneur in an industry that a whole lot of Black women can't even knock the walls down in. And you mean to tell me that you think I feel disenfranchised? No. But I do feel my people's disenfranchisement. I do feel that. I do feel that. And because I feel that, I sit in this seat. Because see, what happens is Monday through Friday, I know that I can get up out of my bed and go to my living room, and I'm getting a paycheck.
Exactly.
So I can stay in
I'm with you.
And put my laptop on my lap and get a paycheck.
Right.
But see, this is the reality. Before COVID-19, I could do the same thing.
There you go. Same here. I'm at home every day working.
Guys, once again, thank you for tuning in to All Things Authentic. We're with Miss Sharon and Miss TomiGirl, and we are talking about the state of affairs in Georgia, a residential perspective. And right now, y'all know I'm rocking the boat because I'm loving VA, but Georgia, I'm on my way. And so,
you better hurry up, girl. I'm waiting on you now.
Right.
I'm really excited.
She been trying to come here for the longest time and ain't came.
I think I'm gonna just have to go up there and throw her in my car and say, "Pack your bags, let's go," because you're playing too much.
Right.
Talking,
How many times?
I receive you.
I'm coming to Georgia. I'm coming to Georgia.
Mm-hmm. I've been waiting for how
But
long?
you know what? But you know something though? It goes back to timing. And
It's a time and place for
there are so many. What I'll say is this. I'm gonna say it like this. You know, there was a time when my mother used to say to me, Lil, it's better to be seen and not heard.
That's true.
And in April of 2020, it manifested. Lil, it's better to be seen and not heard because, baby, when they see you and they seek you out, it's nothing anybody can do to stop it. So I say that to say, hold your horses. Just hold your horses. Now, let's talk about Ahmaud Arbery.
Wow.
Miss TomiGirl, I want you to kind of chime in on what your thoughts were when you initially heard about what happened, and then 3 months later, really getting a reaction from it.
Okay. When I initially heard about it, I hate to say it this way, y'all, but I have been so desensitized to things like this now that it's sad to say. I'm like, okay, it's happened again. And as a mother of 5 sons, I have 4 sons that are grown, and I have one that's 14 right now. So a couple more years, he's grown. And as a mother, I can only sympathize and empathize with his family right now, because this is a young man who hasn't even lived yet. You know, my oldest son right now is 28. He's only a couple years different. Okay. And then, you know, I have 2 more sons in their 20s. I have one that just turned 18 just a few days ago on April 25th. Okay. So I can tell you that the outrage that I see that we have when it comes to 2 white men gunning him down, why do we not have that same energy when my brothers are doing this?
Come on.
We killing our own just as much.
Say it again.
Okay.
Their lives matter.
Why do we not keep that same energy and have that same energy? When I had a close relative of mine, and we're in a very good neighborhood here in North Macon, here in Macon, Georgia. You know, we have the east side, the west side, the south side, and the north side. The north side is supposed to be that side of town that, you know, when you quote unquote come up and you want to stay sort of like you're in the suburbs a little, this is where you go. But what I've come to find, nowhere is safe. And I'm sorry to say, as much as I empathize and sympathize with that young man's death, because I would not wish that on any mother to have to bury their child. So I don't want to come across like I'm not sensitive. I am. But what I'm more concerned about is my community bleeding out, and 2 men who caught a young Black man right over here in my neighborhood, who I'm close with. They're simply walking home from work, and two of his own that looks like him jumped out of a car with guns drawn to his head that could have easily went off and took his life. So my concern is what happened there, but the most concern that I have is what we're killing and doing to ourselves.
That's true.
And I can't expect to fix a cancer over in their people if I can't even fix my own.
Oh.
How
can I go heal somebody else and stand and protest and do all these things to try to fix them, but I won't give the same energy to my own. What is the problem there? So that's really how I felt. Just being honest.
That's
Absolutely. So let me put a staple in that real quick. I think that's valid. It appears that Black lives only matter when it's them against us.
Mm-hmm.
Or why don't Black lives matter within our own community?
Thank you.
Have we forgotten the village mentality? Now, I always say that on the banks of the James River, Willie Lynch did create the breakdown of the African American man, and he used us to do it. But I have always said that just like he taught us how to break down our men, we need to reverse it and build them back up. Because the reality is that until we as women can support the restoration of humility, you know what I'm saying? And youth in our African American men, they are going to continue to be weak. And the other part of it is, I don't have children, but I do have a nephew. And I'm sorry, Mom, y'all have got to stop coddling these boys. And you have to teach them how to walk circumspectly in the world. You have to have the conversation about them that yes, there is a double standard.
Oh, yeah.
But my argument tonight is, if the system is going to have a double standard for whites and Blacks, why don't we have a higher standard for those in positions of authority? Hands down.
Wow.
That's true. That's powerful.
When you mentioned thinking about the higher power and thinking about the officers, and we're thinking about the DA and the judges. Let's go back to when I moved here 20 years ago. And just like she said, when I moved here 20 years ago, he was the elected sheriff in DeKalb County. He was gunned down. I don't know if y'all remember that. He was gunned down by his fellow officer. And
I think I remember that.
He was gunned down in his front yard. He was the elected sheriff. Let me tell you, I did not know how Georgia worked until I started seeing certain things that was going on. Now, he was gunned down by his own race, his own color.
Wow.
He got put in jail. He got a life sentence. But when you talk about higher power, standing behind his wife, his family, no. His wife had several strokes. She had to fight for his pension. She ended up dying. Because he was the elected sheriff and not sworn in. But see, this is the part that we don't. And just like she said, we don't bag up our own. And I tell you, I have 5 kids myself. I have 3 boys. My youngest child is 17 years old. My 22-year-old, and then I got a 25-year-old. Same age as this young man. Every day that my 25-year-old leave out of the house to go to work, I tell him, be careful.
Yep.
Look how your eyes in the back of your head. And watch as you go to work when you get out of that car third shift, because he works third shift.
That's it.
Watch behind your back and you watch in front of your back at all times.
That's it.
I tell my 22-year-old, everybody is not your friend. Stop calling everybody your friend. Because it's not. I don't care who you are, but until we start uniting together as a race, I'm talking about as a race, us Black people who fight one another, beat one another, kill one another. We have to come together as a race.
Absolutely.
The only race that we tear each other down.
Absolutely.
White folks stand behind white folks. Y'all know it.
And if they have a
and I'm gonna tell y'all this. Now think about this thing, and y'all forgive me. This is my favorite point. I know it looks like a crayon, but don't judge me right now. Okay. But one of the things that we talked about a few days ago was the fact that you have all of this social media that promotes the propaganda, which is two white men killing a black man. Okay. But when we go back to the cancer side of our people, how many other races do you see outside of just black and white that are out here that are getting gunned down in the streets? Do you see Koreans? Do you see Mexicans? You might see a Mexican every now and then, might get dragged a little, but I'm saying as far as being promoted in social media, the only thing that you ever see is us. And so I have to look at it deeper than what it is, going back to what Lillie Mae was saying earlier. We are living in a time of good and evil. We're living in a time where the demonic side of what's going on right now is playing chess with us. Okay. That chess piece was placed back in February. But because we know that principality was there with God in the beginning, he already knows how much time he got. So he gonna try to take as many of us with him by strategically moving these chess pieces where he know Georgia is opening. Okay.
But this is why I said this, and I say it over and over again. One lady said,
you didn't put the glasses on, girl. I'm sitting.
A lady said to me, she said, hey, Governor Kemp wasn't thinking about color. Yes, he was. Because we the only ones that go out here and entertain and pay these people. We the only ones gonna run out here to the mall. We the only ones gonna run out here and get our hair done.
Stand in line for some Jordan shoes a couple of days after last week. We couldn't even go outside without and what kills me, and let me point this out to y'all. And I said this earlier on my live. Let me tell you, how many of y'all actually watched that family and all of those that gathered down there on that courthouse steps today?
I did. I watched it the first time today.
Did you see how many times that microphone exchanged hands? Unprotected.
And they have on now masks.
I'm in entertainment. Lillie Mae is in entertainment. So you know what time it is when it comes to a microphone. You got spit particles, breath, everything. How many of those people did you see take their mask off?
None. All of the ones that were standing up there talking didn't have no mask on. The ones down there,
I was gonna point that out too.
The ones,
even the ones that did have on masks, got up there taking them down.
Right. Well, I didn't even see them take them down. I just didn't see no mask. But the ones that was in the audience, I seen with masks. But then I seen this older man. He had to be at least 60. He's standing there. He didn't have on nail mask. Didn't have on a doggone thing. My thing is, we can protest without being in the same. We didn't have to be out there. They could have protested this. Why did y'all wait till now? The boy died in February. Y'all should have been protesting this back in February.
Why you got to wait till social media say it's important for you now to want to go out and talk? Y'all knew he was dead back then. It was in the news back then. One of my friends here on social media said when that young man got shot down there, it was in his inbox. So no, this is not new news. It's new to most because it was not promoted out there.
I didn't know anything about it until yesterday. I had heard it because I try not to watch the news. I try not to watch no news at all. No, and nobody had mentioned this. So I was like 3 months. I thought this just happened. This just occurred. But 3 months ago, my ass would have been on that front pulpit of that court, honey, and I would have been protesting, saying, y'all better arrest him now. And I mean now. I would have
been if I know Sharon like I think I know her, she would have been out there. She would have been out there
24/7. Because if that was my son, I'm not. My heart bleeds for her because I got a 25. But if that was my son, I would have been on that steps from morning to day to the end.
But you
was going to arrest this man. He was going to get arrested.
But I have a question because I don't think people understand generally what happened in these situations. A lot of times what happened in these situations is because we don't know, we sit on things. And that's why the other day I said, Lil, your daddy told you never to call people fools. And that's all he said. Because, you know, y'all hear me talk about my dad a lot. And Sharon can attest to this. If my daddy said it was so, I don't care what
That's
it
what it
was.
is.
He was,
Deacon Jones won't playing, honey. Fool. He'll call you in a
he was
fool.
my hero. So he just said, Lily, don't you call nobody a fool. So a
Mm-hmm.
couple of days ago, I found myself calling someone a fool. But then I had to rewind. I said, Leo, you can't call them boys no fools because if you haven't been taught, you don't know. Because a fool is somebody that really knows
They
but
don't.
not
They
acting it
make
out.
a choice not to do right. Yeah.
Right.
So I can't really call you a fool for being, I can call you ignorant, but I can't call you a fool because the ignorance is the lack of knowledge. So if you don't know, you're ignorant, but I'm not going to call you a fool. And I say that to say, a lot of times in these situations, lawyers from other places get hip and they contact the family and they hit their family and say, look, I can get y'all some money.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's push this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you what I know.
You ain't
But
got to
my
tell
whole
me
thing is,
about
why does it take a monetary anything to instigate anything? Life is life, and right is right, and wrong is wrong.
Well, because once
it.
again, we've become desensitized to these shootings. And I'll be the first to admit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I see a shooting, a police officer initiate a shooting, this is what I say. Oh, well, they're going to give him a slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Because that's
y'all,
usually
I
what
remember
happens.
the night. I remember laying in my mother's living room the night the verdict came down for George Zimmerman. And
Mm.
I wailed, y'all. And it seemed like every time it happened and the verdict came down, every time the verdict came down, the wailing got lesser and lesser and lesser. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, okay, well, now you couldn't drive while black. You can't go buy Skittles while black. So now you can't jog while black. What
Mm-hmm.
else is next? I can't wear colorful long weave while black. I mean, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
will say this. There is a difference. And I want y'all to think about it like this. And those out there listening, I want you to think about what I'm saying. Black men already targeted, possibly suffering from some form of trauma
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
has never been acknowledged, possibly suffering from some form of uncomplicated grief,
Mm-hmm.
already fearful of the police,
Mm-hmm.
not understanding the system. All right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now you have a law enforcement officer who is underpaid, working long hours,
Mm-hmm.
suffering from a lot of trauma,
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's going on in his household because he's not hardly at home. So his wife probably
Right.
got another boo.
Come on.
Got crazy kids that's terrible because their daddy is a police officer and they feel like they can't do no wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against fear because I'm scared of these black men that they're going to kill me. Now, when you
Right.
put two individuals with all of that anxiety in a high stress situation, what do you expect to happen? Somebody gonna die.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I need you people
Absolutely.
out there listening to understand what I'm saying, because there are a lot of dichotomies here. You have a social status dichotomy. You have a racial dichotomy. You have
Mm-hmm.
the whole mental health dichotomy going on. And it's not
Right.
making excuses for black men or for law enforcement, but I need you to look at this thing for what it is worth, because I understand that what we are up against is bigger.
Yeah.
It's bigger than just these kids getting shot down in the street. What I
Mm-hmm.
need you guys to do, what I need you to protest is letting these men and women in your house and then they molesting your kids and traumatizing them. Scared of everybody.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say this. The Atlanta chief of police made a statement. He said, "I'm gonna go back in and we're gonna retrain our officers
Mm-hmm.
on how they need to handle certain situations." And one of the questions I had to ask, how do you retrain? How do you retrain a mindset that you already arrogant, you're already stupid, you already got a
Mm-hmm.
nasty attitude. You need to, before you hire these people in police in these positions, you got to look at if they're arrogant. You got to look at if they got a nasty attitude, or they got a high temper, or they
Mm-hmm.
they snap at a snap of a finger, because those are the people that cannot be on a police force, because mentally they're not stable enough to handle these situations that come along when they see somebody black or somebody white, or stuff. I'm not going to say not the high class white folks, but the trashy white folks. I'm talking about the trailer park trash white folks that they think just low class, like us black people, because they put the trailer park trashy white folks down there.
Okay. Hold on, I need to die. Let me die for 1 second.
Did she just say I need to die?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, you back.
But,
Resuscitation.
but no, Sharon, I understand what you're saying. And the funny thing, I'm laughing because I'll never forget. I went back home a couple of months ago, me and my
Mm-hmm.
best friend Chelsea, and we went to an anti-bullying event.
Oh Lord.
And y'all, it was so, but it was an interesting experience because if anybody knows where I'm from, Danville, Virginia, y'all know Danville, Virginia still got big old Confederate flags the size of my house flying.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the interesting thing. I could count the number of people that look like me and Chelsea at the anti-bullying event with all this free stuff, free food, free services, everything. But on top of that, the police
But
street
if it was free hair and getting your nails done, it would have been a whole bunch of us.
they would have
But
been,
we're
and
gonna
they would have
table
been
that.
fighting.
Go ahead.
They would have been fighting. But the police were there, okay? And the black officers that were there have been on the force since I was a child. And I'm 34
Mm-hmm.
years old. But the new officers that I saw were way younger than me. And
Mm-hmm.
even a stat, they look like the kids that were probably bullied in school. And so
Yeah.
now they want to be police officers because they want to
So they
feel,
can have some sense of
they
power.
want to now
Mhm.
be the bullies.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. There is one, the sheriff in Danville, Virginia, and I shout him out all the time. Mike Mondul, my heart, my soul. I can pick up the phone and call him when I feel like my mom about to get lit. I'll be like, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
can you go check on my mama? But I talk to him about this topic a lot because I know that he supports our community so much. Like
Right.
when I say this man is for rights, he's for rights in Danville, Virginia, and he is the highest law enforcement official in Danville because he's a sheriff, and that's an elected position.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen somebody in an elected position that doesn't believe in politics. Like this man does not like politics like that. And I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm sad that he didn't become the chief of police, but I'm also glad because I think that if he would have become the chief of police, he would be in a compromised position because as the chief of
Mm-hmm.
police, he would have to play a political game. But I say that to say, I think that how we start to combat some of these things is that we learn how to communicate. And the problem is that the three of us have been educated. And I'm not just talking about college educated. I'm talking about we were educated by grandma, mama,
Mm-hmm.
dad, grandma, aunts, Sunday school teachers, pastors, teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is our parents taught us to respect authority because my mother took me to my fourth grade teacher, Miss Wilhelmina Johnson. Shout out to Miss Johnson. She said that, Lil got a tendency to want to take over the classroom. So if you need to spank her hands, you spank her hands. And it was no, you ain't my teacher's mama. No,
Mm-hmm.
you told them teachers, I know my child. So if you say she did it, I know she did.
She did it right.
Yeah, most of them get up there wanting to nuck if you buck if you go up there talking to the teacher. Oh, you ain't talking about my child. No, that gone well. They got parents.
But you know what? I got some for my teachers too. Because see, I can talk this talk because I sat in that seat as a teacher. But let me tell you one of the things. I hope some of my parents, my former parents are out there watching. I used to tell my parents, look, I'm never gonna disrespect your child, but when they in my classroom, they my baby.
Mm-hmm.
They my
Mm-hmm.
baby. And they gonna mind me in my
Oh,
class. Me
absolutely.
sounding like somebody grandma.
There you
But
go.
yeah, they gonna mind me. But do you know I didn't have problems with them? I would hear
Mm-hmm.
kids in the hallway cussing teachers out, calling them all kinds of bitches and everything. And I used to ask them, why don't you do that when you come in my class? Well, Miss,
Mm-hmm.
different. Why? How am I different? And I needed them to articulate why Miss Jones was different. And shout out to my girlfriend Holmes. Why is Miss Holmes different? Why don't you act like this in her class? But you know what it was? We understood that when we come home, our lights are gonna come on. There's
Right.
more than enough food in our refrigerator. When we lock our doors, nobody gonna come busting through. We got beds to lay in. We got couches to lay on. We got recliners
Mm-hmm.
to relax in. We got multiple TVs to watch, and it's just one of us in the house.
Right.
We understood that those kids go to houses that they don't have a bed to lay in. Sometimes their lights are off. They don't have food in the refrigerator because the mama's selling the food stamps or feeding the man that's living with them. So we understood that we can't expect them to walk like Roman soldiers, because
Mm-hmm.
how can you act accordingly if you've never been taught? So I say that to say that applies to these officers and our young Black men and women.
Mm-hmm. But I can tell you and not to interrupt, and I'm sorry, Lily, but I need to get in here. One thing I noticed as a child, because I'm a little bit older than you. One thing I just said a little bit. Don't judge me.
Okay, we got
She
you.
laughing at me. I'm gonna remember that next time we talking. Be him. But let me get in on this.
Okay.
One thing I noticed as a young woman growing up in my neighborhood, and I know right now a lot of our young Black men do not see being a police officer as an ideal, occupation to have.
Yeah.
But most of those officers that were in my neighborhood policing our neighborhood like clockwork, you could pretty much tell every time around 3-4 o'clock, Sergeant Joe White is going to go up the street. He's going to go down the street. He's going to circle the block. He's going to stop, and he knows your name and who your parents are. See, we don't have those kinds of police officers no more.
Yep.
And my thing is the training and the certification period that it takes to become a police officer, which is only 3 to 6 months, maybe.
I don't even think it's that no more.
It might not even be that. Like I said, now that part I haven't fact checked, but I know it's a relatively short amount of time. However, people that go into the military, y'all, look how long we train them with guns, how to interact in certain hostile situations. These people in the military are not just going out here and they're over there with the Taliban and everything else, where they really could be rogue with the guns and killing.
That's it.
But we got these police officers who have this much training, and we're throwing them into environments where they're already intimidated, number one, by the Black man, because the stereotypes are the only things that they know. They've never really interacted with us. So my thing is, if you're going to put these people who have never interacted with me into my neighborhood, you got to have some type of additional training and some type of certification and witness these people and how they're interacting with that group. You can't just throw somebody over there and say, police them. You don't know me.
Very true.
And I'm sorry, it goes the other way too. Because on our end, what's being perpetuated out here into society is Black man, you need to fear that white officer. Look what they're doing to you. So yeah, when you come up to me, approaching me, you're trying to demasculinize me by making me feel inferior to you. Get on the ground. Who are you to tell me to get on the ground, white man?
Right.
Yep. That's
You're
it.
right.
You understand?
That's
So now here comes the conflict. I know my rights. Why are you stopping me? No, you need to follow my commands. If you're not following my commands, well, that's not a violation. I need to know why you pulled me over. Now, if it's anybody non-white, or white, that asks that question, we pulled you over because you failed to signal back there.
Absolutely.
It's not even step outside the car.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I just need you to understand next time, make sure that you signal. Go on about your way.
Right.
But if I, as a brown person, turn around and ask you that same question, who are you to question me? I'm authority.
Right.
What?
Come on, girl.
We got to learn how to communicate with one another. You can't come with disrespect and then expect respect. That is my whole problem with
when
this.
they don't know, just like you said, they haven't been taught because they go through this class. After 2 weeks, they're on the street trying to be a police officer. You have to teach them, and that's
it's like you're training these police officers like they're security guards. I'm sorry, they are not security working inside of Sears Roebuck, and I know Sears Roebuck don't exist like that no more. So don't judge me on that one.
But I know when Sears and Roebuck, downtown,
right? But we all know.
But you get the point.
Right, and we all know. And this is one of the things I told Atlanta police, the chief of police. You can't train an attitude. When you already have an attitude, you can't train that attitude. You have to take better steps in preparing yourself when you're doing this employment for these police officers, when you're trying to get police officers out here. Yes, we are in need. But it was something that I told, I always say this. Mexicans have a higher rate than our own Black people now. If you understand what I mean by that, Mexicans are more respected than Black people. Have y'all ever, I don't know if y'all noticed it, but I tell my children the same thing. We are so low on the totem pole now. And like I said, trailer park trash, they got up there on the level. They're higher than us. Yeah. We are so low. We are down to the bottom. Mexicans get better respect than what we do.
That's true.
But we got to first respect ourselves. If we can't respect ourselves and build our own selves up, and it's not a separation, and I preach this all the time. It's not saying that I want to be separate from everybody. I don't. But I need to heal this bleeding out. I can't save you if I'm drowning. I can't save you if I can't even talk to your child about the things that they're doing wrong as an elder trying to tell them right. Absolutely. I don't need to be in fear that if I correct you on something that I got to worry about you coming shooting my house up.
And this is one of the things that we have to, as Black people, we do not support one another. We always tearing each other down. We're trying to be better. My house is bigger than yours. Go over there and live in your little house. We got to stop this. If we cannot change the Ahmaud Arbery situation until we change ourselves. If we don't change ourselves, Arbery, that young man, Arbery, that is just like my grandma said, he died in vain. He died in vain.
I even said earlier today, sweetie, that we know Jesus' sacrifice. We know the son sacrificed for us, right? It's going to be so many sacrificial lambs that are going to occur. But until it hit home, it don't matter.
Come on.
But let it come into your house.
Say that again.
Now all of a sudden it matters.
Right.
And I'm not saying that, we know it's only one son, but he gave the example of what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
In order to get that next level up. You follow what I'm saying? And unfortunately, our people are the ones that are still trying to stay asleep. And we got to wake up. How many times is it going to take for somebody to die to realize, okay?
It's going to take, but guess what? Just like Ahmaud is not our child, but now everybody want to rally around them. But if it was our child or something, we want to voice our opinions and we want to act a fool and carry on. We have to start taking accountable for the things that we do in our life. And if we don't start taking accountable for some of the things that we do, it doesn't matter. It
don't change.
And just like you said,
I can't expect somebody to value my life if I don't value it myself.
Right. Absolutely. What's the show that the guy runs out in the field and says, "Wake up"? I see his face, and it's not Drumline, but they were sorority. It was a sorority.
Oh, School Days.
He runs
School Days, I think it was.
He runs
Yeah.
out the field and he says, "Wake up."
Yeah.
We need
School
to
day
wake
throwing
up.
Fishburne.
Yes, we
Absolutely.
need to wake up.
I'm telling my age.
Ah,
Again.
Me too. But we need to wake up.
absolutely.
We need to wake
Absolutely.
up.
You know, one of the things I want to do, and I want to get to a closing point. We're going to revisit this topic because what I want to do when we come back is I can't talk about it tonight because it really took me to a different place.
Right.
But Ahmaud Arbery was not the only one who was gunned down.
Okay.
In Indianapolis, a day or so ago, Dreasjon Reed, 21-year-old, gunned down. And at the end of the shots that rang out as this boy was running, a detective stood over him and said, "I guess it's gonna be a closed casket, homie."
What?
Whew.
What?
And from what I understand, he's just gonna get disciplinary action. So I want to close out. I want to close out with the question: what will the next trend be? What will the next trend be? Because seemingly we jump on trends
Yes,
and
Lord.
we don't jump on the things that we need to fix
Mm-hmm.
within ourselves so that we
Absolutely.
can stop trending.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to stop jumping on trends and try to stop these trends.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, Miss TomiGirl, it has been real. I want to
Yes,
close
it
out the
has.
live with a wonderful song that I began the live with by Taesean Blanding. And this song, No More War, is just, oh my God, guys. It speaks volumes because he talks about how he's screaming no more war. And as he's screaming no more war, you can just feel it. So, guys, thank you so much. I think we dropped a lot of joy, jewels,
Yes.
and depth. Have a good night as we listen to No More War.
Good night, baby doll.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, sweetie.
Things are about to ignite just in a matter of time, and it is vivid as day, but you can't see the signs. Oh no, how many hits can we take till we can't take more? How many points you need? Prove it till you even the score. To the point where fear is knocking the doors, bang bang hit the floor. But maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more war.
Once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I appreciate all of your support. Please go back and watch the video if you came in late. It's your girl, Lillie Mae, and you've been listening to All Things Authentic. Good night, everyone.